All right, hey everyone, welcome to another hashtag Ask Jim. I think we're up to like 170 of these, so we've done these a lot. So, you know, many years. So for those who are watching the first time, we do this every training week when we have our new franchisees in training. So what we're going to do is we've got all the questions here. We're going to read out your name, come up to the microphone as well. We've got some really good prizes tonight. So what happens is Jim picks his 3 favourite questions, and at the end, you can come up and take anything you like. So we have Jim's Monopoly, we have the bucket hat, we have this shirt as well, and we have a heap of beer, and everyone must think we're...
6-pack.
Everyone must think we're, promoting... We've got that many beers to give away, which is the lawn lager.
It's a great beer. It's not really high alcohol.
No, it's a mid-strength lager, but you can't buy these anymore. So these sold out in the first run. Cooper's tried to sue us. You were in the Herald Sun, you were in The Age. It was on Channel 10. So make sure you grab yourself.
We offered them a blind taste test and they said no.
They didn't want to do a taste competition.
They didn't want to, because this is craft beer. Beat them. Mind you, I haven't had any. I'm not a drinker myself, but it's supposed to be pretty good.
But how did you find talking about the beer on Channel 10? I remember you watching that, trying to talk about something you've never drunk in your life, which is quite funny. But we do have that as well. It's a collector's can. So if you ask a question, you'll get a prize. So please, that's incentive. Just come up and interrupt us any time. And I want to start off with something that came just morning news. Was Jim's? Anyone seen Jim's Beauty on the morning show or on? It's gone berserk. So I've gone into socials. We've got Megan Gale, who's a massive supermodel, commenting on it. We've got people with millions of followers sharing it. Obviously taking a little bit of the, I can't believe it's real, but the attention is there and it's been amazing.
We've had more than 300 jobs booked already and we've got no franchisees. But we've had 13 franchise inquiries so far, so that's all very promising. It's a great start-up for the division.
No, we've got Channel 6 News just literally messaged us then trying to get you on there as well. So
yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's a good... How are you going to go talking about Jim's Beauty Services?
I think it's great. Great division. Great division. I think there's nothing more important. I mean, I've been married to my wife for 22 years. She's 54 years old and she's got a really great temperament. But I've got to admit, it helps that she's absolutely gorgeous as well. So we like our women to look good.
Well, we wanted to do a spray tan with you for the launch video, but that was a bit too far of me pushing you to do the spray tan with the little goggles on. And
I spent a fair bit of time on my farm. I've got a bit of tan, including on my head. There's not much hair there. So
no, definitely not. Definitely, they don't do any hair transplants or anything, so we can't do that. All right, let's get into it. So, first one here, I've got. Where's Andrea from Dogwash? Is Andrea from Dogwash here? Got hand up. Come up to the mic, Andrea.
A very colourful lady, Andrew. We were speaking on Sunday night, weren't we?
Hope that's a compliment.
Yeah. Is that I'm sure it is.
Hi, Jim. My question is, when did you last receive terrible customer service, and did you make a formal complaint?
I think the worst customer service I've had in recent times is trying to ring my own bank, the Commonwealth Bank, and being stuck on the phone for half an hour. I find that absolutely appalling and amazing that they're so stingy about it. I mean, when our average time of waiting is well under 10 seconds. But that's just really annoys me. And it's such a trivial thing. They can solve it in like a minute.
Yeah.
But half an hour on the phone, listening to their stupid voice saying that your call is important to us. Well, if it's important, you'd answer it. So, yes.
Yep, cool.
CBA, not a fan of the CBA. Are you still with the CBA?
Yes.
We're still with them. It's too hard to leave.
It's just so hard, yeah.
Sure. Next one here we've got from Amar from Building Inspections. Cool. Jump up, mate. And CBA, if you're listening, pick up your game.
I did tell them.
I'm sure you did.
Hi Jim, how are you?
Good.
Yeah. I just wanted to know, how did you attach your name to every single business here in Australia and make it so profitable and make people believe that it's really good?
Well, it started out basically as mowing, and when we started going to other services, didn't even think the logo would work, like cleaning. The guy with the beard and the hat's a mowing thing. But we found it did. It just works, and it works for every division. I'm sure it's going to work beautifully for Jim's Beauty as well. But the thing about what attaches a good name to it is having great franchisees giving great service. And we are relentless about customer service. Everybody here would have listened to me for 2 hours, rattling on at extreme length about customer service and what we do and all the systems and the complaints and the surveys and the callbacks and the following up of customers and the technology behind it. We are relentless in actually working to improve customer service. And that is the key. If you give a great service to clients, they want to come back.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Because that comment comes up a bit, because obviously, with laundry services and stuff, people might have been thinking the same thing, but you look at the numbers and the growth of the division.
Yes.
Nearly 100 franchisees in 2 years or
And what people say is they've used one service and it was great. So when they're more likely to try others. And a lot of people have tried multiple services. You often look on the system, looking up a job, and there's been like 10 different services being used. It's very common.
Now, what would you say to someone like Megan Gale? So Megan Gale's an international supermodel who was commenting on it, so they couldn't believe it and stuff like that, and some pretty big followers and influencers on it. What would you say to them?
Oh, I think it's great. I love beauty. I love, we like women to look good. And women like to look good, isn't that right too? You like to look beautiful, so why not a service that deals with that?
We'll check back in a year and see how beauty's going, and they've already got plenty of unserviced
I
work,
would
so.
say it's going to be a high flyer. It's a fantastic one. Basically, most of our top, fastest growing divisions are female friendly, like dog wash, like cleaning, like laundry. Laundry's got 100 franchisees in less than 3 years. So women want to be in business. So I think beauty is great for that.
There we go. Cool. Next one here you got from Tim Norrish. Where's Tim? Is Tim still here? No, I'll read it out for him. After all this time, what's one piece of learning that has resonated with you the most? It's a good question, Tim.
Just constant improvement. I mean, really, you've just got to be better. You've got to get better and better and better. And look, the biggest mistake I've made in the past is I try and do different things that I'm not familiar with, like running a trade exchange, running a factory, running a tourist complex. We are very good at what we do, and we keep on getting better at it. So stick to what you know. That's the best thing I've learned. It's a hard lesson to learn because you keep on thinking there's things that would be great to do and they look so easy, but when you get into them, they're not so easy.
Absolutely. And is Sasha from cleaning here? Sasha? Yep, come up. If anyone wants to come up anytime, guys, please come up and ask him a question.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, Sasha.
Hi. So my question is, how do you deal with fear and doubt in starting a business?
I don't tend to feel a lot of fear and doubt myself. I have a very resilient nature. My wife says I'm like one of those plastic things with the weight in the bottom. You knock it over, it springs back. But in terms of a general advice, what's really important is to have a peer group. If you've got, well, in our system, you've got a mentor, which is your franchisor, but you've also got meetings where you come and talk to fellow franchisees. So I'd say anybody going into business at all, you need a group behind you. Because being in business for yourself is wonderful. It really is. It's got so many advantages, but it can be scary, especially in the beginning. And we spend a lot of effort and time in working out the mentoring systems, having franchisors ring franchisees regularly, at least once a week, and ideally even more than that in the beginning. Sometimes they ring them every day. How are you going? How are you getting on? What problems have you got? How'd you go with that quote? How'd you go with that job? How are you feeling? Just peer support is so important. We all need connection. And one of the worst problems we've got in society today, people are increasingly apart. We've got to come together.
So some seats at the front, guys. If you want to sit up the front, please feel free to come up as well. And come up and ask Jim a question anytime as well. Please interrupt us as well. Got one here from Sarah from Test and Tag. Where's Sarah? Sarah here? Sarah and Adrian, do you want to both come up at the same time?
Oh, sure.
Yep.
Hello. My
Sarah.
question was, if you could relive a childhood memory, what would it be?
Wow.
It's a good one.
When I was 10, my father went on study leave to England, and we took a cruise in a ship, a month there, a month back. That was an amazing experience. And the time we spent touring around England, my father's a great history buff, looking at cathedrals and castles and all sorts of things. That was an amazing year, that really was. And that was when I was 10, 11. I remember we went inside one of the pyramids at Giza. Strangely enough, I'm quite averse to travel. I don't really want to get on planes at all these days. I just like to stay where I am. But that was a wonderful experience.
Okay.
Hi, Jim. My question was, do you still enjoy mowing lawns? And do you mow your own lawns?
I do occasionally mow my lawn at my farm just around the house. But actually, I really much more enjoy gardening.
Yeah.
I've got a huge potato patch that I've been planting pumpkins and silver beet and all kinds. I've got quite calloused hands. I love getting out, getting my hands dirty. I've got very dirty fingernails, as you can see, apart from being bitten a lot. So it's fun, though. I do love it. I was a mowing contractor for 15 years, and it's enjoyable to me. It really is.
Therapeutic.
It certainly is, yes.
Thank you.
Thanks for that.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. You want to come up, guys, as well? Just jump up anytime and ask a question as well. We have one here from William? Where's William McNamara from Mowing? Is he here? Yeah.
Yeah, William?
Charles, you want to check the other pages for questions as well and drop them in? Yeah.
Hey Jim, even though it's been a while since you were pushing lawnmowers, what's the most memorable customer that you had?
Look, the most startling memory I have is just customers being amazed with the service. Like a customer telling me, I never knew my lawn could look this good. I might have said similar things in a number of people, but I remember a particular lady saying that. And that was just amazing. It really was. She was shocked and surprised. And I really just felt an enormous surge of pleasure about that particular comment. And other things like that too. People used to be so happy they give me extra money and stuff too. Probably I was underquoting in those days. So, but just seeing a really happy customer just delights you in some way that's amazing.
Cool.
Man, short and sweet. Got one here from Kylie who doesn't want to come up, and that's fair enough. She's told me why. She's gone, I've come to learn this week that you are the king of branding and also love to be creative with your merchandising, the lager and the Monopoly. Have you ever considered the possibility of a collab with another successful mega brand like Lego? I can totally see Jim's Lego sets for all divisions.
That's a great concept, actually. We should help to Lego. I tell you what, I love it. I love it.
Just make more work for me. That's all it's doing. That's a lot of work.
Oh, you're an idle bugger. You only work about 80 hours a week.
Yeah, that's right.
You can do 105.
Well, we have been approached to do. Well, we know approached, but we wanted to do a Jim's Mowing Lego set just with the trailer and stuff. We thought it'd be pretty cool, but there's just cost to minimal order quantities and stuff. And if we commit to it, it's a bit of money, but it's up to you.
How much was it? How much did they ask?
Oh, you're looking at 20, 30 grand for a set.
I don't know. What do you reckon?
Well, up to you. It's not my money. I'm quite easy. I'm quite happy to spend your money, but it's not my money. So, yeah.
That's only like 5 cents.
Only like 5 cents, yeah.
I like the idea. I must say. I reckon it's. I wonder if there'd be.
Well, if you want us to do it, I can look into it. Yeah.
Have a look into it. I think it's a good
All right.
idea.
Well, thank you very much, Kylie, for that one. That's a good one there. What divisions do you want done first, Kylie? Obviously, laundry, mowing. There's obviously a few. It would work well. The kids in the trailers. It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, you could have a few different ones too. You could have a mowing and you could have different figures with different logos on them and stuff like that. Maybe I don't know.
Well, I know getting the official Lego license one's not easy, but you can do other block type things, which is not too much work.
Are they made to actually fit into Lego?
Yeah, they're just not branded as Lego. It's like rip off Lego, but you can do it.
I like the idea.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Kylie, for that one as well. We'll give you a set when that comes in as well. All right. Cool. All right.
You could collect all the different Lego men, I mean, or people, you know.
You could, yeah. You
could have all the different divisions.
A lot of work, though. A lot of work. So we'll
you have
see.
a little boxed thing like that.
You could, yep. A lot of work, though. We'll see how it goes. A lot of work. We'll try and do it. Thank you very much, Kylie. All right. Next one here we have, where's Nan from cleaning? Nan or Nan from cleaning? I probably did not say that right. They've gone here. Do you think about possible obstacles or failures before proceeding with anything? What do you think about failure? Do you accept it?
I probably don't think about it enough, actually, because I tend to be optimistic. You charge into things and you're sure they're going to work and they don't.
100 grand worth of Lego, no problem. We'll just do it.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll sell.
I know, we do stuff, don't we? Sometimes it doesn't work out all that well, but
True.
On the whole, generally it tends to. I try to be aware of the downside. You're always going to be aware when you do anything is what happens if it doesn't work. No matter how optimistic, you've got to think. The only business advice my father ever gave me, because he was never in business, he was an engineer, a very good one actually, but one advice he gave me is you never bet the farm. You never gamble where you can't afford to lose. And that's very good advice. So if you take a gamble, if you do something that you can recover from, it's good. I remember talking to one particular guy who was interested in buying a franchise, and it was just in a very bad financial state. And I said, you couldn't afford to fail, could you? And he said, no, I couldn't. I'd lose my house. And I said, don't do it. It's not at this stage right for you. Get yourself better financially before you go into it. So always be prepared for whatever you think. It's like going into a partnership too. That's one of the things that we see often in gyms. People go into partnerships and they're so confident it's going to work. When you go into a partnership, you've got to work out what will happen if it doesn't work out. Even if it's your best friend, even if it's your wife, for heaven's sake, you've got to go into any enterprise with the idea it may not work out. What am I going to do?
There you go. Good question, that one. We've got one quickly online from David as well. We do have people leave them online. He says, started Jim's Mowing 7 months ago in the Southeast region. Best decision I've made. Business has been growing great, but how do you keep persistent when tough times hit, such as inflation and interest rates hikes, which is obviously a big problem at the moment for a lot of people?
Well, inflation is not a problem because you raise your prices. We have no trouble keeping up with inflation. And interest rates the same thing. Well, you don't. Because what happens is inflation's gone up 6%. So you say, I've been doing the lawn for $60, for example, and you go to the client, look, Mrs. Jones, I'm really sorry, but you know the price of petrol is going up with inflation, and so I'm going to have to charge you $70 from now on, okay? So That's 6% inflation, but you've actually raised prices by 15%. So if you're good at what you do, and bear in mind, most gyms franchisees have more work than they can handle, especially after the first 2 or 3 months. So it's not that difficult to put prices up. If somebody likes the service you're giving, like if you're getting your dog washed, you are not going to go to a different dog wash person when your dog likes the person who's doing it. So for just to pay $10 less, you're not going to change. So it's very inelastic. We actually find that tough times are our best times because our problem is not, for the most part, clients, it's franchisees. So we had a recession back in the early 90s. We grew from 1,000 to 1,400 franchisees in 1 year, 40% in 1 year. That was just amazing. Why? Because we had work. We had over 200,000 unserviced leads last year. We've got plenty of work. And it doesn't matter how bad the economy is, we'll still have plenty of work. And everybody's being laid off in spades, or they've got redundancy, and they come to us and say, hey, how about a franchise?
Good question, that one as well. We got one here from, where's Michael from Dog Wash? Michael from Dog Wash? Good beard, Michael, Jim as well. Very on brand.
Yeah, very Jimmy.
Several times this
Very
week,
Jimmy.
yeah. Evening, Jim, Joel.
G'day.
My question, basically twofold. I've been told by a franchisee in my area that there's not enough profit margin within the dog wash. Firstly, what your opinion on that was. And secondly, what are some business strategies or what can we do to overcome such things so we can scale our business?
That was to put on employees, wasn't it? I think that was...
Yes,
Not
correct.
enough to do employees.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're actually quite right in the sense if you're putting a person out in the trailer with you washing a dog, there's not enough margin to do that. Quite a few dog wash people are doing it successfully and making good money out of it. What they do is they have a separate trailer. Or else they have their own trailer used, like they don't work at the weekend and they have somebody working in the trailer at the weekend because the trailers are it's part of the franchise.
Yeah.
It's a big asset. So I'd say yes, if they're talking about employing somebody with you, absolutely not. If you're talking about putting an extra person on a trailer, yes.
So purchase a second trailer and then scale from there.
That's right. And a lot of them are doing it.
There's a heap of them doing it.
There's many, there's more and more. Some people have got up to about 10 trailers working, so it really works for them.
Yeah.
As an individual, it works very well. It's a profitable enough business. We had a lady who almost went bust during the, almost got evicted from her house during the lockdown because she had no income at all. She was a student.
Right.
And the last time I heard she was making $5,000 a week. Now, the costs aren't that great, so she's making a fortune.
Yeah, fantastic.
So dog wash is a very lucrative business, but it's also important you do the grooming as well.
Yeah.
The washing itself is good, but the washing and the grooming is where you really make good money.
For sure.
Well, we've got a lot of interviews with these franchisees, so I'd say watch Matt Wilson, who's got 5 trailers on the road in Baldivis and Perth. And Matt Wilson I interviewed here in 2019, so he's a good one to watch. And also Jade Scabbo, who's actually got 3 trailers on the road and actually rents a salon on site as well. So she's got both.
All right.
So we've got interviews with them. Watch them.
So she's got a shop front and trailer.
Yeah, she's got the grooming shop front. We've got 4 franchisees now with Jim's Dog Wash branded shop fronts plus trailers on the road.
Have you spent time on the road working with the franchisee?
Yeah.
How much did they make?
Well, he kind of capped himself at like $450 a day sort of thing, but he said he could.
Yeah, it's just crude. Yeah.
He wasn't working full time basically for that. No,
absolutely not. He was choosing his hours.
But you know,
for sure.
you're talking about somebody who's making, because fees are about 6% of turnover typically. So this is a person making well over the average Australian wage, which is only about 75, 80 grand a year.
Right.
Washing dogs and not even full time. So it's a very lucrative division.
All right.
But it's good if you love dogs.
Oh, yeah.
But I watched
sure.
those interviews with those people who were doing it, and if you reach out to them, they're happy to talk to you for sure.
Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Thanks very much.
Do you have another question about something else?
Oh, yeah, this one's completely unrelated. I understand you're a bit of a sci-fi buff and you love the Darth Vader and the Monty Burns. Just wondering if you ever invested any time into reading anything about Warhammer 40k.
Warhammer.
Yeah. If you like villains, it's full of villains.
Yeah, well, I'm a big fan of villains. I reckon Darth Vader,
They're all on
Emperor
audiobooks.
Palpatine,
Yeah.
good stuff. Monty Burns, not science fiction, but still he should be. I mean, I just love the bad guys. I was actually in school. We did a review, and I was Munro Murgatroyd, the super villain, like that. Oh, I love that part.
Classic.
I used to practice by going into the shed underneath the house to laugh, and the next door neighbours rang up to say, "What on earth are you watching over there?"
Suppose it echo next door, wouldn't it? Awesome. Thanks, Jim. Thanks,
Sure. Yeah, you imagine the neighbours hearing that, and you do that one when you're practicing that.
Oh, not louder than that.
I remember. Don't worry, when you first did it a while back. Next one here we've got is from where's Angela Pearson from Laundry. Is Angela here?
I enjoy.
Cool. And her husband's a franchisee in mowing. He's come down. Did the training online.
He's got
Oh, you're the
one
laundry
other-
now as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got two. So I've
Ah,
got mowing,
mowing,
in
yeah, yeah.
Brisbane, and we just
And I'm
moved
taking
to
over laundry.
Awesome.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. If you could teleport yourself anywhere around the world, where would you go and why?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't trust teleportation because the way that works is you disintegrate one place and you get another, and it wouldn't be, to me, you wouldn't be the same person. But leaving aside that qualm, I'd go to Greece. I've been a big fan of classical Greece since I was 14 years old, and if I was going to travel anywhere, I would go to Greece, and I'd like to see the Acropolis of Athens. I'd like to see the Straits of Salamis, where the Battle of Salamis was fought. I'd like to see the Battle of Marathon, Thermopylae, the where Sparta used to be, with not much left there now. Just the different places that I've read about so many years. So Greece.
It's beautiful. We've been there. It's great.
Really? Oh, you've been
Yeah.
there, have you?
Yeah, we went there a couple of years back, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
What do you reckon of the shirt, Jim? Good trademark shirt.
Yes, very good.
We're partners with them. So TAX is a mental health counselling service which is funded by the social enterprise, which is trademark. So it's a really good course of
yeah.
support. Yeah.
and I get the fun one. Well, I see you got quite a few children.
Yes,
We've-
I have 10.
10. We recently have a daughter, and we're open to marriage packs. So if you've got some that are available, she's only 3.5. But
This is a
I'm,
strange one.
I'm shopping around at the moment. I'm really starting to shop.
Okay, well, my youngest son is
that's the first
14,
question.
so I'm sure he's prepared to wait until your daughter comes of age. And looking at her mother, I'm sure she'll be drop dead gorgeous, so it's all done deal.
Big anime eyes and everything. There we go.
We'll follow you and send them to you.
It's a very unique question, that one. That's the first one for sure. Geez, you're marking it down. You like that one? Okay. All right.
I have never had anybody propose marriage to one of my children before. I think that deserves a prize of some kind.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Very creative. Good man. Next one here we have from David Campbell from Mowing. Where's David? David Campbell's on the Today Show as well. He's doing the double
Jim.
shifts.
Oh, yeah. I've won a few of your, my question is, I've won a few of your 6-packs of beer and I'm wondering what brand it is and why you chose that brand.
It's actually Cooper's.
Yep.
No, it's not.
Sorry, it's not Cooper's. It's the opposite to Cooper's. It's Bondi Brewing,
the one.
which is a small brewery, craft brewery in Sydney.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, when I say Cooper's, I can't even
And
brain.
why did you pick that one there?
Oh, it was just recommended to me. Not being a beer drinker, I wouldn't know, but it's a craft beer, so it's a very different taste from the mass-produced beers,
Yep.
like the Carlton and all those kind of things too. The Coopers.
Now, what happened is they reached out on Instagram and said, we want to do a beer. And I said, all right, Jim doesn't like drinking that much, but I'll try and ask him, and asked him a few times, and then we came around to the idea, and then he was good enough to give us the approval and giving them free rein, and away it went, and then...
It's been very, very successful. We actually got a second batch done fairly quickly because
But
it was so much.
they want to do another batch in December, actually. Not if that can, though, because they're too scared, these guys, of Cooper's
the
legal
round
again.
things,
But,
yeah.
but
Very good.
there'll be another batch in summer.
It is nice.
That's
Oh, good. You had some, have you?
Yes, tasted it.
It was during training. I saw him up with the can during the training sequence. So
That's why I won it.
Oh, you won one of the prizes,
I won a
did you?
couple of them, so
Yeah.
I thought I'd sample it while, yeah.
had to
Thank
be done.
you.
Had to be
Good
done.
stuff.
Good man. Thank you very much. Cool. Next one here we have is from Ali. Where's Ali from IT? Is Ali from IT still here? No. I'll ask it for him in proxy. How many properties do you own? I don't know why it's relevant, but that's all right.
3. No, hang on a minute. No, 2. Oh, the other properties in my wife's name, so I don't count those.
The law doesn't either, Jim, so that's all right.
Well, she's a property developer, so if you counted everything she owned, there'd be a few. But basically, this property plus my farm is what I own.
Just tell me a little bit about your farm. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, I've got 250 acres up at about half an hour that way at Don Valley. Beautiful. It's got 2 permanent creeks going through it, a bit over half bush, and we're planting it into a sort of organic food forest. Lots of nut trees and fruit and all kinds of things, and I grow potatoes and pumpkins and vegetables and all kinds of great stuff, and I love that place. I really love getting out there in nature, getting my hands dirty. It's really fun.
It's good thinking time for you as well, isn't it? Have to think and have audiobooks in and...
A lot of my best ideas come on my farm. Yeah, I'll be gardening and I'll be listening to a talking book all the time. It's just great therapy. I'm a big fan of happiness, actually. What makes people happy? And there's certain kinds of things that are really associated with happiness. Exercise is one. I'm a very strong exerciser. Time spent outside, contact with nature, good social relations, not doing things like drinking too much and smoking and so forth. Those kinds of things. If you live a life that's on, and having a meaningful job, and my job is very, very meaningful. Every day there's a purpose behind it. So you put all these together, you've got a very happy life. Church member, active church member. Happiness is a science, actually. It really is.
For sure. Follow your newsletter, follow that sort of stuff with tips, and your website's got a lot of good stuff, jimpenman.com.au as well.
Yes.
And we have one here from Mohammed from cleaning. Is Mohammed still here from cleaning? No, I'll ask him one. He's asked, do you still drive an $8,000 car? And if so, why?
No, actually, I didn't till last November, and then I wanted to go electric. It's the first time in my life I've ever bought, and my car was worth about that much at that time, the one I was driving for years. Gave it to one of my sons. But the first time I ever bought a new car in my life. But I like electric, and we've got solar panels on the roof. So basically, I love the idea that the sun is powering my car. I don't feel guilty about driving it because I know I can just park it, plug it in, and the sun is powering it. That's great.
But you were very reluctant to buy a new car. It took a long, long time for you to buy
If it
one.
wasn't for electric, I still wouldn't buy it. But it's good. It's got safety features too, which is good.
Yep.
But electric is fantastic. It's fun. It's fun to drive an electric car. It really is, and it's not that expensive if you look at all the costs. They don't wear out as much. They don't need as much maintenance. It's good.
So guys, if you've got a question as well, please feel free to jump up to the mic. I'll keep running off the list here though, but please come up anytime. Anyone who asks a question on the mic, just remind you guys, can pick a prize at the end. So please do so with anything at all. We've got one here from, is it Tim Livingston from Test and Tag? It's a pretty cheeky one, this one. Well, I won't wreck it, but yeah.
Good evening, gents. I was just wondering, Jim, with the amount of kids you've had, do you wish that you had started up a division for Jim's contraception earlier on in your life?
Let me tell you, I would start Jim's fertility clinics first. I just had somebody, one of my friends, tell me today he's got twins on the way, which is the third and fourth child, and I said, great. And in fact, one of the things I said today in the office is we're going to have a really good maternal leave for our staff. I want all of our women to start having babies as soon as possible.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jim.
Good man, Tim. Good man.
We had what's the name of Peter Costello. He was a guest speaker at an event here one time. And so because I was hosting it, I gave a talk and I said, Peter, you said one for mum, one for dad, one for the country. Well, how about one for mum, one for dad, 8 for the country?
Very expensive though now, Jim. A lot of money. So we have one here.
Cheaper by the dozen. Haven't you ever heard that?
Definitely not. Not now. We got one here from Javier from Electrical. Is he from here? From Electrical? No, it's a good question though. How long does the typical franchisee stay with the franchise system? Or how long do they stay with gyms?
It's kind of difficult because it depends how fast the division is growing. Like the one division that's got the lowest time would be laundry. But the reason for that is it only started less than 3 years ago, so everybody's been only in business for a year or two. We tend to more look at the attrition rate. And first year attrition, as I said in training, is around about 12%. And then it tends to be a little bit higher the next couple of years, like 15% or so, and after that it drops down for a while. So as to how long the average person can expect to stay, I would say probably about 5 or 6 years would be fairly typical. Most people change jobs every 4 years. But then we've got a number of wonderful people who've been going for 10, 20, even
27, 28.
28, close to 30 years now. Right from the beginning. And I get to ring them. On Sunday night, I ring up the veterans when they hit their major anniversaries. It's good.
There's a lot of people as well. I think, what's the one for the lowest attrition? You always mention this one.
Test and Tag's very good. It's got very low attrition. Not quite sure why. It's just it just is. But also, sometimes people can leave because, for example, if they're doing mowing or fencing, they get physical problems. It's not just that they don't like doing it, but they just find that it's too much as they get older. So,
but people leverage into other things. They might, like we had a guy in Matt Sheldon who bought a mower shop. So he started a mowing franchisee, built a business, then actually bought the local mowing and garden shop. Now he's building that up as well. So
a lot of people have a business, have a franchise as their first business. Like Andrew McIntosh is one of my first ever franchisees, and he was an early trainer and a franchisor. He started the fencing division actually. He's now got a stack of huge nurseries all over the place, plus a building construction business. He's just loaded, and that's not an uncommon story. So a lot of people go into, and sometimes we also, when I say people lasting in business, people sometimes go independent. And we don't make it difficult for them. They just pay, usually $4 or $5 grand for the right to waive restraint of trade, and they just go off and do their own thing. So if people don't feel the fees are worth paying them, they don't have to keep on paying them. So that's actually, the great majority of stay and do actually stay with us, but some have gone independent.
Got one here from Shane. Shane, is Shane from cleaning here? Yep, got a couple of questions.
Hi Jim, hi Joel. My question was, I believe there's a show coming up next year for the bathroom and resurfacing guys.
Space Invaders,
helping out. How do you guys plan on capitalising on that? Not just for them, but for all divisions.
I had around 12 divisions in it. So there was
really?
cleaning, there was window and pressure, there was bathrooms, there was handyman, there was painting, there's mowing in it, dog wash. So yeah, there's all placement stuff. It's like, we can't, the block's really expensive to do. So the Space Invaders was like a good alternative, and the franchisees enjoyed it. And we made a lot of digital content with the host Cherie Barber. Then we take that content and we'll put it on social. So we'll boost it on social just for awareness with Cherie Barber doing segments and all that sort of stuff. And cleaning was heavily involved, and we did all the cleans and stuff. So yeah, we'll just leverage it and get the clips and post them online everywhere.
We take full advantage. We do all kinds of things, like we do a charity event or something like that, and we have so many divisions all piling in, all pictures and stuff. It's good. It's good. Very good PR.
Excellent. Another question I had was, who has influenced or who do you respect in business and why?
I enormously admire Bill Gates, not so much because of his business career, but his charitable foundation. This is a guy who's one of the incredibly brilliant business owner who now works full-time to help people in misfortune. And the Gates Foundation has saved millions of lives. I also admire Elon Musk. He's a bit flaky where it comes to things like Twitter, which I wish he hadn't got into, but as a technologist, X. As in the technology field, he is amazing. What he's done with SpaceX, he's reduced the cost of spaceflight by about 90%. And if you look at what he did, there's a wonderful biography just recently come out, which is a really, really good biography showing how he did it and his systems of improving. Also, James Dyson, the British, like the Dyson vacuum cleaners. And we've got Dyson everything because it's such good stuff. They're the best. And the way he does that, doing so many different improvements to get things better. So there's a number of people I really admire. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Good question. Cool. Well, I got one here as well. I'll read out for Kylie again from Laundry. She's gone, it is so impressive to see how many different divisions there currently are in the gyms group. Could you please give us a quick elevator pitch for what the gym's training division is all about? The gym's training division. So, the gym's training, the RTO stuff you've been talking about before.
We have an RTO. It's not so much a division. It's a head office thing where we're a registered training organisation. And the idea is to provide training for our franchisees, which is government recognised, because we see good potential for upskilling our people so they can, because we do know that when people do courses, they tend to make more money. We know that franchisees in mowing who go through Hort courses tend to elevate their earnings substantially because they can do all the high-priced extras and extra things and fertilising and recognition of plant diseases and so forth. So we want to upskill them. And also, to be quite blunt, we're hoping it to be a way of bringing people into the business. So if we can train someone to do something like fencing, we can then actually approach them and say, well, how about, maybe there's a job for you, because we've got plenty of fencing franchisees who need workers badly, so we can introduce them, the good ones, to our franchisees or get them to buy a franchise themselves. So we see it as a way of feeding people into the gym system. Because the main reason most franchisees don't employ people is because they can't find capable workers. So if we can do that screening for them, we see huge potential in that. And then they can build very big businesses, which is what you want. Because fencing's a big problem. Most of the jobs are unserviced. So if we can get our fencers putting on 2 or 3 teams each, then we can take up some of this surplus work.
And then one more from Kylie as well. Given I have a background inclusion teaching in high school setting, mostly working with neurodiverse learners and also young adults with a range of disabilities, do you see the same potential that I do for employment and training opportunities for people with diverse needs, not just as employees in our own franchise businesses, but also potentially for us to mentor them with the ultimate goal of supporting them with setting up eventually their own business?
We'd like to do it, actually. Again, if we can... Franchisees have a lot of trouble. Most of them have got more work than they can handle. Finding good people is the hard part. Good, reliable people. We would love to be able to have a system, which is part of our plans, to be able to train people in advance and screen them a bit and get to the stage where we can hand it over to someone and say, here's a worker who knows how to do the job, showing themselves to be reliable, give them a go. That's a benefit to everybody. It's a benefit to the franchisee, and of course it's a benefit to the employer. And some people make very good workers, actually.
Yeah, well, I've interviewed a few franchisees who do specifically employ people from neurodiverse backgrounds, and they're fantastic.
Because the kind of jobs that we have are very well suited to somebody going around in a vehicle with somebody else and then acting as a sidekick under supervision. And they do that kind of thing very well. And they can't sort of leave you and go off and become doctors or lawyers or something because, so they could often be very stable employees. And that's the biggest challenge.
But if they wanted to do their own business as well, that'd be something, of course, it'd be great. We actually promote that a lot if we could.
If you could get to the stage of somebody being trained enough. And that's actually a good way of doing it. See, with the dog wash we were talking about before, one of the great things about the dog wash system we've got is that a franchisee takes on a worker, puts them in a trailer, it pays for and what they're doing is they're buying into the franchise. And so with time, eventually, they've got enough investment built up so they can actually afford to buy a franchise. And the great thing about it, by the time they've done it, they've actually been mentored one-to-one by the franchisee. And that's actually starting to go through now. We only started doing this about a year ago. So that's got the potential too. If you have somebody who's a worker working alongside a very skilled franchisee being trained really carefully, there's a very good prospect of them going into business for themselves, which coming in a normal situation just wouldn't be possible. So it's good. But there's a lot of opportunity for people like other disadvantaged groups like Aboriginals too. We'd love to see ways of helping them into the workforce. I'm a great fan of Jacinta Price, as she spoke about during the a recent referendum and talked about responsibility and learning and so forth. I think there's great opportunities to help some of our less privileged people to succeed in the mainstream economy and to have jobs which are significantly above average, above the Australian average in terms of earnings. And you don't need a university degree and you don't need a lot of money.
Got one here from Tarkin. Is Tarkin here from Jim's Pressure Cleaning? Tarkin? No, it's a good one. If he was here, you'd probably get a prize for this one. Hi, Jim. I've got a history question since you are a history nut like me. Why do you think previous empires decline and some thrive? Also, if you were to live in a historical period of time in the past, what would it be?
This is to do with by history. And the reason I believe that empires decline is because wealth and urbanisation tends to sap character. But the civilization is built on a certain kind of character which is associated with mild food restriction and cultural practice that have a similar effect. And wealth and urbanisation tend to undermine it. That's why they collapse, basically. Anybody interested in that, biohistory.org has got some videos in and there's some books here if anybody wants to have a look at it afterwards.
Absolutely. And maybe do you want to talk a little bit about why that project started, because I don't think it's been asked yet, but why did you...
Well, what happened was that I started getting interested in the decline of civilizations when I was at school. I read Thucydides when I was 14 years old, and I was just enraptured by ancient Greece and also appalled by what happened and the way they declined afterwards, after this amazingly brilliant civilization. It was so creative in every area of philosophy and of art and of sculpture and of theatre and the writing of history. And it was an amazing period, and yet 100 years later, all gone. So why did that happen? So I actually went to university in 1971 to try and discover why, came up with a theory that I thought explained at least the basics of it, wanted to make that my life's career, completely failed to get any kind of, I did a PhD in history, very, very radical thinking, failed completely to get any kind of academic post, so I started mowing lawns as a way of funding it. And I'm now spending the tune of about $3 million a year on a research institute, basically looking at the epigenetics of food restriction using rats as the model. But the idea is that if you understand how these mechanisms work, you can reverse engineer them. You can work out a way of helping people become more productive, more resilient, less subject to anxiety, less subject to things like drug addiction. And we've made some very interesting projects. We're looking at the methylation, the epigenetics, looking at what happens to rats when they are mildly short of food, or they're under certain sort of positive stresses. They actually become a lot healthier and better parents, for example.
There we go, some light reading for people if they want to go to
That is
biohistory.org.
not an easy read for anybody who's interested, but if you look on biohistory.org...
It's a free PDF on the website as well, so free PDF,
you can
some
download
videos
it
and all that
for
sort of
sure.
stuff as well. Cool, we got one here from Cameron from Skip Bins. Where's Cameron? Right up the front.
Evening, gents. What's your favourite chapter in Exodus?
Chapter?
Yeah.
Exodus is just a wonderful book. I love it. I love Moses.
Or a verse.
Sorry?
Or a verse in Exodus.
It's just a very moving story, and it's very hard to pin down what it is. I think just wandering in the desert is an amazing story. Moses going off, fleeing and fleeing into the desert, and as a refugee, so to speak, and then marrying there, and then coming back and speaking to Pharaoh. It's an amazing story. I was watching a film of it, which is, and you get very emotional. It's just a wonderful story of God's deliverance, and very relevant to our present day too.
Have you seen anything from Dr. Jordan Peterson about his Exodus on YouTube?
No, I haven't. I'm aware of Dr. Jordan Peterson. I think he's a very interesting thinker with a lot of very good ideas.
I would recommend that you look up his Exodus breakdown with other
Okay, thank you. I'll do that.
Nice.
There you go. The one here online from Matt Wilson, which is pretty relevant to everyone. I'm a current franchisee and have, this is Matt who was talking about before with the 5 trailers. He goes, I'm a current franchisee and have been scaling my business with employees over the last year or so. I hope to be able to step out one day of the day-to-day processes next year and are considering a diversifying into another division. What are your thoughts about doing that if he's completely out of the tools?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. People don't realise it, but actually, I mean, we make a lot of thing about franchisors in gyms, but most of the top earners are actually franchisees because there really isn't an upper limit. Work is, for the most part, considered to be unlimited. There are hundreds of thousands of unserviced leads, so it's actually not an uncommon practice. Well, Dan Cole, you heard this morning, I mean, before he finished being a franchisee, he completely stopped mowing lawns. He did it for a while, he learnt it, trained his people, had great teams on the road, made very, very good income out of it. He wasn't actually mowing lawns or out in the field at all at the end. I think there's great opportunities for management. You can start off, because there is so much work. That's the key thing. The real secret of it is, as I talked about before, finding good people and then helping them and supporting them and making them feel valued and motivated and making sure the quality is there. One of the great things about Dan was that his actual star rating was 5.0, despite having a whole lot of teams. So he actually had incredibly good quality control, which I did not in pre-franchise days. So it's actually, there are quite a few franchisees who don't do the job anymore. They just act as managers. It's not that unusual at all. And we encourage that, we love it. If a person's turning over $1 million a year and they're acting as a manager and they've got this great business which keeps on growing, it's a fantastic story from our point of view.
There's a good example of Phil from cleaning, who Phil's got really good revenue, won't say how much he earns a month, but he brings in a lot of other gyms franchisees. So when he goes to a house, he's not just cleaning the house, he's bringing in skips, trees, he's bringing in...
So he does a master quote?
He does everything, yeah. So there's a lot of good opportunity just outside your division as well to bring other people in and make money on that, which a lot of them do.
Yeah.
So
the hourly rates you can make are phenomenal. They really are surprising. People just don't understand. They think somebody's a manual worker, they work for $30 an hour. A lot of our people are working for $100 an hour plus.
For sure. Got one here from Craig Papworth as well online. But if you want to ask a question, guys, feel free to do so. It's an open mic. Craig's gone, hi Jim, can you grow your mustache and beard back? Why is that?
If I grew it back, I'd look like Santa Claus.
Well, we can put that one on there. That's what it sort of would look like. So
that is roughly the colour it was. In fact, if you look at that thing there, that's a bit photoshopped. It's not quite.
We did Photoshop the face. We had to beautify it a bit, so we had to smooth it over a bit. Yeah.
That is fundamentally roughly what I used to look.
People can sort of see what you look like with the hat on as well. There we go.
But it's more prickly than the real thing, so I wouldn't want to wear it long term.
Good man, good sport for doing that. The one here again from Paul Azzi says, hi Jim, would you ever consider expanding to other countries, USA, Canada, for example? So
yeah, I would. But what expansion in gyms is not really so much the opportunity or the idea or the country, it's the people. We would be in the US tomorrow if we had the right people to drive it. That's really what we need. It's the same thing with new divisions. Why do we have beauty? Because Ming approached me and said, I'd like to do Jim's Beauty. Successful franchisor, great franchisee, good history, knew the industry, understood what was involved, had contacts. So we've got Jim's Beauty, and that only happened about 3 months ago. So yes, if we had the right person, we'd be in the US. You never know, somebody today here might be pioneering a new division or a new country. Never happens, never know. It's just having the right people in place. Somebody with the ambition and the drive to do it.
Can you tell people about the process then for a new division? Just because it's not...
Yeah, a new division is not actually difficult at all. It costs really no more than a franchise. Basically, a person comes along, they need to have some knowledge of the industry and what they're doing. We charge a ongoing fee that initially starts at about $5,000 per month, which is about 3.5% as a compliance discount, first 6 months in advance, but no other payment. You need to do the website, manual, set up the training system, and go for it. So it's actually remarkably, it's about $30,000 up front, and whatever you take to do the website, and then there's no fees for 6 months. By which time, the aim that we have is that they have to have 30 franchisees within 3 years. It's a rental until then. And once they achieve the numbers, because 30 is a viable division, then it's theirs. And they can expand it, they can sell it, they can do what they like with it.
And you put it, just email Jim at Jim's.net if they've got an idea and away to go.
Yeah, that's how they all start. Somebody just emails me. We've got interviews this week for photography as a possible division.
That's an existing franchisee with...
no, it was in the past.
Adam from IT, was it?
We don't have photography now.
No, I meant the person who's approaching you is the current franchisee.
I think he's the current franchisee, but he has some contacts.
Yeah.
He has some contacts. We've got... what else is coming up? We've got home care.
Home care is the big one, yeah.
That's starting up. We've got life coaching. We've got tutoring, both well on the way towards going somewhere, probably early next year. So there's a whole lot of new divisions starting all the time. And most of them are working out very well.
Next one here we've got on the list is from Kale from Mowing. Where's Kale? Is Kale still here? No. Emma told me he said, can you follow me on Instagram? So we can follow him on Instagram, that's fine. So Kale, send Jim a follow on Instagram and Jim will follow you back. Jim will follow you back. All right, cool. Next one here we've got online. If anyone got some more questions, please feel free to come up and ask Jim. We've got some time as well. Anyone who asks a question gets a prize. Got a couple of online here as well. One really good one. One little quick testimonial. La Rocca's gone, I've had a franchise for 8 years, learned so much about how to run a business, now run my own business, and wouldn't have been able to do it without getting the skills through Jim's. So he ran one with Jim's for 8 years, then went and run another business, which is great from La Rocca there. We have one here from...
I feel just as proud of somebody who starts with us and goes on to build a major business elsewhere as I do with people of ourselves who succeed. Because getting into business is hard, learning it is hard. If you learn the skills with this and you go into something else, that's fantastic.
Well, a great example is Jason from Scratch and Dent.
Yes.
So when he started with you, then he's gone and done his other thing and come back.
He was one of my first franchisees, became a franchisor, was pretty good at it. And this is when he came to me, he was like 21 years old, but he was a sort of assistant manager of a supermarket, went away, had a really good business in the scratch and dent industry, built a major business out, got out of that, now come back to launch Jim's Scratch and Dent, which is going gangbusters. Yeah, great guy, Jason.
Got one here online from Andrew as well. It says, new franchisees might see a lot of value for their franchise fees up front when joining Jim's, having a franchisor and others available to help, for example, and the pay for work guarantee. But then he's gone, I'm aware that as you scale, you don't need to pay a higher franchise fee beyond growing your franchise to make your fees a smaller portion of your revenue. What are the best ways to continue to drive value from your franchisor and from Jim's as a whole long term to make sure that you continue to get good value for money, which is a good question.
Look, whether it's worth paying ongoing fees depends a lot on what your aim is. If your aim is to do your own job in exactly the same way and not change anything, not grow your customer base, not improve it, just steady state, which some people do, and God bless them, it's their decision. You get to a stage where you're not doing anything, not learning anything and not being part of it, it actually makes reasonable sense to stop paying fees. But the opportunity that we give people is that you can keep on learning and keep on growing, put more and more, put workers on, do splits, work out how to improve your efficiency, gain new skills. And so instead of having an income that stays the same relative to inflation, you have one that's steadily growing and growing and growing. And it's not very difficult to add an extra 1 or 2% to your profitability. for the same time. And you just keep on doing that and keep on doing that. And suddenly you're making double what you were making. And for that kind of person, a franchise is magical. If you want to put on workers and grow, it's magic. If you want to keep on improving, it's magic. If you just want to stay in the same place and do the same jobs in the same way forever, it's marginal. People still stay with us because they like the brand and they like the companionship and so forth, but it's less of an advantage in that sense.
Got a question, guys? Feel free to jump up and ask anything you like. Got some time.
But we don't make it difficult. If a person really doesn't want to keep on paying fees with that, that's okay.
Good evening. There's a lot of talk about developing franchisees and franchisors. Are you developing someone to take over from you as a successor eventually?
Comes up every time, this one.
Comes up every time. Well, first of all, I am exceptionally good health. I'm 71 years old, but biologically, I'm like 15, 20 years younger in terms of energy and in terms of measurements, health, everything. Okay, so I'll probably be reasonably good for the next 20 years, which will outlast most franchisees. I'd like to say you're all going to need 20 years plus, but probably that's not the case. What I plan to do is introduce a clause in our contracts, all contracts, that says that the Jim's group, our company, cannot have the majority controlling ownership sold without the written consent of a majority of franchisees. Because the one thing I fear the most is that somebody will come along and say, here's a big thing, sell it to some greedy, money-sucking, parasitical, international financial people, and they'll go and rip the place off blind, and they'll really hurt my franchisees, and that actually scares me. So I want to put this clause into the contracts, which is going to start fairly soon, probably early next year, so it's going to be impossible. I have a system set up where my children, I've got 10 children, my adult children and their married spouses will basically form a board. The money from the business will go towards helping them with housing and so forth. There's a specified way of doing it because it's very hard to buy houses otherwise, and to my research institute. And I've got a couple of kids and even more potential sons-in-law that I think would make very good managers. So that's kind of like the plan. It's very hard to decide things after your death. I might say too, I'm a very strong follower of all the research into life and longevity. If in the next 20 years they develop a system where you can have your youth restored, I'm going to be in front of the queue. So I could be around for another 100 years. And I will if I can.
We have an AI Jim as well. That we have like, we'll pull your videos and your data into an AI model, and in 20 years' time ask what would Jim do in this situation. It can go through everything you said and give a good decision. So don't worry, we've got it covered.
Yeah, that's your plan, is it?
Yeah, we can do that. That's no problem. You already do it now. It's just a bit of money. Got one here from Tom Reynolds is on here. So, hi Jim, Tommy from Blinds and Screens, so you just started with us last month and did the training 1 month ago. So thanks for jumping on, Tom. Says, I'm finding clients are more likely to approve quotes if it's a fixed price and not per hour rates. We also like the fixed price item concept. Is this better to make profit or per hour rate? What's
fixed
better?
price is vastly better. There's two reasons. First of all, because if you give people an hourly rate, you're competing against everybody else who could be a tenth as efficient as you. So if you want to make yourself $60 an hour, and if you don't make $60 an hour, you shouldn't be in our kind of business because it's useless. As a franchise anyway. So you can get a lot higher hourly rates by quoting a fixed price. The other problem with a fixed price with an hourly rate is the client doesn't know what's going to get done. You know, I'll work at, say, $60 an hour to clean your house. But how much am I going to get done? They don't know. And they say, well, you haven't done enough work. It doesn't justify it. So you get a high level of complaints. So I specifically warn in training, really, really, really stay clear of hourly rates.
The one here from Joseph's gone, hi Jim, what advice would you have for someone looking to start in lawn care? I'm unable to buy a franchise in Auckland at the moment. Cheers.
It's difficult. The odds are against you. I had to be blunt about it. Your chance of actually being in business in 12 months is around about 10%. But I would strongly advise you to get involved with a local association of independent lawn mowing contractors. Be part of a group. The franchise system provides that naturally. It's one of the main reasons why people have got more success. They have a mentor. So get involved. Find a group of people who are in the industry and find a meeting. Become part of an organisation which will support you and mentor you and work with you and share ideas and stuff. You need a peer group. That's the best advice I can give. I would also suggest too that if you want to go into business by yourself, start part-time. That's how I did it as a student. I started doing just gardening jobs for very little. And I learned about that, and then my clients told me how to prune all kinds of things. I bought a lawnmower, it was a part-time student job. So by the time I actually started full-time in 1989, I'd actually had, 1982, I've been actually had a gardening business continuously for about 11 years part-time. So yeah, that's why I do it. Start part-time, find a group to be part of. And look, sometimes it really doesn't cost that much to get into a franchise. You might find that we find actually, I have enormous respect for anybody who starts in an independent and succeeds. So if you've got a reasonably good business going already, and I'm talking about making, even 60, 70,000 a year, which for an independent is good money. If you actually come to us at that stage and say, I've got this business running, I'd like to rebrand, we'll usually give you a franchise for nothing.
We've got some good examples of that actually, but we've got one here online as well. Olivia, she's gone 4 questions, so we'll try and get through these real quick. She's gone 1, what's the coolest thing you've ever done? What cool things do you do, Jim?
I think marrying my current wife, who is absolutely drop dead gorgeous. She's definitely a 10 and I'm probably a 2 by comparison.
2, right.
I think I caught her at a rather weak spot.
Where were you when you thought of the name of Jim as your brand?
It was Jim mowing. Jim was mowing lawns. It was only me.
There's no marketing genius, it's literally.
I wasn't thinking it would come to anything. I honestly wasn't. I just put Jim's mowing because that was me. Jim's mowing. Jim is mowing.
Literally, there we go.
And I had that picture my photograph on the leaflets.
I should have brought the leaflet, but that's an interesting leaflet that we've been around. 3's gone, how far into your business did you expect to become a multi-million-dollar organisation?
Oh, it's only gradually dawned on me. Even after the franchise started, I didn't think much of it. I thought it was just something to do until something better came along. It surprised me. It really did. I just did not expect it to do as well. If you'd have told me back then that it would become I had 5,000 plus franchisees, I'd say, you're smoking too much of the product. I mean, that's impossible. Who would have thought that the service industry could be such a gold mine? I mean, honestly. And the kind of income that people make of my own franchisees and franchisors, we've probably created more millionaires than any company in this country because of the way the franchising works, because there's so many. Who would have thought there's so much money in it? But actual fact, there's a book called The Millionaire Next Door, which I read since that time, which is about a typical American millionaire. And if I asked you, what do you think a typical millionaire is like, you'd probably say, well, they're a tech guru or a management consultant or something like that, or a lawyer or accountant, something like that. Well, actually, no, they're people like us. They're people in the service industry because not only do we need to make good money, but we don't spend a lot. You don't need a real flash car and to wear, really smart $1,000 business suits to clean houses for a living, do you? So for those reasons, it's actually a royal route to wealth.
And 4, she's gone, why did you hire Joel? So we always get, I don't know why she said that, but I don't even know who this lady is, but yeah, she's wrote that.
Well, because we just needed somebody, what was it, just some casual...
Can't remember. My mate was moving back from Warrnambool and he's in the legal department, said, you should bring up there for a job. And that was it. Yeah, so you didn't have anything to do with it.
The most basic job imaginable. It's actually, Jim's is very much of a bottom-up organisation. 2 of my top managers, including Joel and Megan, both started at the absolute bottom of the company. The most basic sort of jobs you could possibly imagine on minimum wage, just proved themselves. Because one of the things I do in my business, I wander around every day and I chat to people. At one time, Joel was working in assisting the insurance. And he was just talking about websites and stuff and what they could do to improve it. And he just inspiring. He just had initiative. So with time, he just developed and now is one of the top people in the company. In fact, when we talk about the direction of the company, Joel and me and Rocky and managers get together and just make all kinds of decisions. And it's actually been responsible for enormous change, but very much self-taught. Got no degree. He's got a law degree or almost.
I've got a law degree, so it's not a degree, no. It's not really a usable degree, no. I did law comments, yeah.
No, but the point... but what Joel has is he's a self-improver. He's always looking at how to do things better. He's always coming up with ideas. And in fact, he's probably grown more in terms of knowledge and ability over the last 2 years than the rest of his career combined. Reading up Gary Vee, for example, just studying things and trying different things and learning on the spot. It's a great story, actually. I think it's a problem that too many companies actually, they want the sort of people with top degrees and so forth. And they look for that elite. And I don't know if that always gets you the best people. We actually find that so many of our best people come from the ground floor, either from the office or from franchisees. A lot of our top people actually started as franchisees. And they come to work in the office or become franchisors or run divisions and all kinds of things. So it's a very... It's kind of like a bit like the old days when people in companies, you could start at the mailroom and become the CEO. It wouldn't happen these days in most companies, but in ours it does. In a sense, Joel was the equivalent of in the mailroom.
I think so, yeah. We were in the legal department then, I think. That was, paralegal or whatever it was, law clerk or something.
Yeah. But you had no experience or anything?
Nah, no idea.
It was just a... Did you think it'd come to anything, this job?
No, the plan was not to stay. The plan was to go be a lawyer. But I realised from working with lawyers I didn't want to be a lawyer. So I didn't like that. I saw they were overworked and stressed and didn't have much hair. And it wasn't for me. But it's been good. But we've got a really powerful brand here. And Jim, Jim's a very humble guy. He gives a lot of trust to people to do different roles and different things. And a lot of people owe a lot to him, and I'm one of them. Now let's... anyone got last questions for Jim? If not, we'll pick the prizes here for people. So Jim, I saw you marking down some questions. So anyone who asks a question is going to get a prize. So come see me at the end. But this is first pick off the prizes from up here. So you pick anything you like.
Well, I like the question about customer service. Your worst experience of customer service. Nobody's ever asked that before. I like that one. That's great. So,
who asked that one? Do you want to come up now? Come up now. Pick
Amanda.
Take anything you like. Anything except for the laptop and Jim. We had someone try and take Jim last time and the laptop. Those two things you can't take. You can grab the bucket hat for sure.
Yes.
Absolutely. What was the other one there?
The question about fear and doubt was good. That's really very relevant. And people I thought it was a great question. How you overcome fear and doubt.
Cool. Grab anything you like.
In a general sense.
For sure.
Okay.
Good choice. Won't hold it against your fear.
And I've got to say, I really like that lady who wants me to marry, who wants my son to marry his daughter. Who was that?
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
I've never had that said before.
No, it's a unique question.
100 and plus. Nobody's ever actually tried to arrange a marriage with it. Oh, well, very cute. I'll tell Aaron to wait.
Take anything you like.
Thank you.
Cheers. Now, so basically, if you ask the question as well, come up and see me at the end. People have left some really good stuff up here, so you can get some good stuff at the end. If you want a photo with Jim as well, now's a really good time. We have the light there, you can do it in there. Wednesday's a massive crush for the photos. It's rushed, so come and do a photo now as well. But thank you very much for your attention tonight. Yeah. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
Great questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.